Hello and thank you for contacting Wave. I see from your clinical request you're struggling with the fit, in particular on that right eye. It sounds like the left eye is fitting reasonably well. So let's talk about the designs for a moment. If we look at the right eye, as you know, you have quite a bit of irregular corneal contour there, and unfortunately, as you know, you don't have a whole lot of peripheral data captured on this design, and sometimes that happens with these highly irregular corneas. One of the things that you can do, I find it helpful, when you have such an irregular cornea, you want to capture, when you're designing these lenses, you want Wave to pick up as much of the contour as you can to help that lens center and fit as well as you can do it. Quite often I avoid using averaging the corneal astigmatism because you'll see in your design it looks like you did choose averaging. And if we look down in that lower right hand corner at the Wave interpreted topography, all of a sudden you have a lens that looks pretty almost symmetrically red in that lower right hand corner as opposed to the C-shape area of redness that you have in the true topography. So right away that's going to give you a lens that's highly accurate on an inaccurate topography. So what I like to do, I like to go to, when I do a new design, is not average the astigmatism on these corneas. And I'll show you in a moment what I'm talking about. The next thing you want to do is you want that lens to capture as much corneal data as you can. So quite often I'll try to get this back surface OZ red dot somewhere along the inner edge of the red, and then the blue dot I'll probably split the difference on the red, try to create a little more landing zone. So I did a little mock-up here on a lens. I'll see if I can bring it up here for us. Okay, so this I took that same right lens in the axial design, and what I did is I moved the red to be a little excuse me, a little closer to the inner part of that red zone. I didn't want to go too far down. I usually stop somewhere around 4 just because that's where I like to stop. I set the 6, set it about 6, give it about 2 millimeters to transition along that area. I left it in freeform. But if you notice what I did when I first started this design, I did not average the corneal out. And you'll see that this lower right hand corner looks pretty much just like your true topography. So I think that'll help get this lens to fit a little more closely. And then you see when I design the lens, now you have a lens that mirrors that green corneal line very closely. If you look, if you go all the quadrants around here, and if you look at the back surface of this design, compare it to your original design, you'll see there's a little more harshness in the curves on that back surface. If you can get that to come up here. Whereas you see the newer design is a little bit more contoured in through here, so it gives you a little bit nicer flow across that back surface. And in fact, what you can also do, if you click on that little aspheric design, about 05 in the bottom there, and redesign it, sometimes that'll even get you a little bit even nicer contour. In this case, I don't think it makes that big of a difference, but you'll see now that lower left-hand corner, which is the back surface of the lens, almost perfectly mirrors the topography that you were able to accomplish when you're capturing the corneal images. So this will give you a lens that has a better fighting chance of lining up. And if you compare that to the left eye, which is fitting reasonably well, from my understanding, but pull that left lens up, you'll see that the left lens back surface, the lower left, is very similar to the front surface of the topography, and you'll notice if you follow that simulated fluorescein, you have a lens that pretty nicely aligns all the way around. In this case now your right lens now is much more closely aligning. So again, I think those little subtle adjustments will make a big difference for you. Keep in mind that, as you probably already are aware with these highly irregular corneas, the rules tend to go out the window, and quite often you need to use a lot of empirical fitting based on some of your clinical impressions, but I think those design adjustments should help you. Well, good luck with that. I wish you well, and thank you for contacting Wave. Have a great day.